Now, the next person that I'm working with, this person is single. Their pay period is biweekly. Their excess amount, $825. So I need to look for this on my chart. Single, biweekly, $825. Well, table 2 is biweekly. Single is on the left side. What was the amount? $825. So I'm looking here on table 2A to see where $825 happens to fall. Well, it falls in this area right here. It's over $417, but it's not over $1,442. So what does it say in that area? Well, it says that it is $33.40 and 15% of the excess over $417. So anything above $417, 15% plus $33.40. So again, I'll do this calculation. $825. I have to see how much it exceeds $417. So $825 minus $417 is $408. 15% as a decimal is 0.15. So 408 times 0.15 is 61.2. And then I've got to tack on the additional 33.4. I add these two amounts together and I get 94.6. So this person's taxes will be $94.60 withheld for federal taxes. Again, I'm going to delete that to save myself some room. Now the next person, single, quarterly, excess is $4,880. So I'm looking for single, quarterly, $4,880. Well, I got to find the quarterly table. It's all the way down here on table 5. Table 5, quarterly payroll period. This person is single. That's the left side. What was their excess amount? $4,880. So I got to find on table 5A where $4,880 would fall. It falls into the second category. It's over $2,713, but not over $9,375. So what does it say about that? It's $217.50 and 15% of the excess over $2,713. So that's the information that I'm going to use. So again, $4,880. I want to see how much that exceeds $2,713. It exceeds it by $2,167. The bracket is 15%. $2,167 times 15%. $325.05, and then I've got to tack on the additional $217.50. I add these two numbers together and I get $542.55. So this person's taxes withheld will be $542.55. So again, the more you do this, the more accustomed you come to doing these types of calculations. And then the last person on this first set of problems, they are married, monthly, $1,924.99. So I'm looking for married monthly. Well, monthly table is table 4. Married would be the right side, part B. So I'm looking at 4B. The excess amount, $1,924.99. So that goes actually in the very first category. It's over $675, but it's not over $2,125. So what does it say there? It says 0 and basically just 10% of the excess over $675. So I'll have the $1,924.99. It's based on the excess above $675. So this exceeds that by $1,249.99. It's based on 10%. I'll multiply that number by 10%. and I get 124.99, or if I round to the penny, 125. So that completes the 5 employees for part 1 using the percentage method. And really we only had to do 4 because this person had a negative amount, so there was no tax due. So that gave us really 4 hands-on examples. And like I said, the more you do that calculation, the more accustomed you become to doing that. And the thing about the percentage method, it does require a lot of calculations, but it only requires a couple of tables. So that makes it a little bit easier. And the other nice thing about it is it doesn't matter how much money the person has made, you can use percentage method to calculate their taxes. Now this second part of the problem, we have several more employees, but this time they want us to use a different method. This time they want us to use the wage bracket method. Now the wage bracket method, one of the things that's nice about it is you don't have to do that many calculations. In fact, in a lot of instances, there's nothing to calculate. But what makes it more confusing is we have to jump around a lot more, and we have to look at more tables. So there's a give and take there. And another problem is that some people that have made such a high amount of money, they go off the charts. And if that happens, we actually would have to go back and use the percentage method anyway. So those are sort of the pros and cons of the two methods. So in this case, I want to find out where my information is for wage bracket. Well, like I said, we use these two tables for percentage method, but if I scroll on down and go all the way down to page 38 in this document, this is where my wage bracket tables begin. And there are a lot of these tables. I'm going to have to scroll through these tables to find the information that I'm looking for, but the good news is I won't have to do very many calculations. Now, the way these tables are set up, some of them are for single, some for married, some of them are for different pay periods, and also we have levels of income with a lower amount and a higher amount, and then we have a horizontal area here with different numbers of withholding allowances. So that's how these tables are set up, but there are many different ones. So for this first person, we're going to do this for G. Adkins, marital status, married, 1 withholding allowance, weekly, and salary of $1,350. So married, weekly, 1 withholding allowance, $1,350 is the salary. Well, I've got to figure out what table this person happens to be married and weekly. Well, this table is for single weekly, so I can't use that table. I've got to find the table for married weekly. So I scroll all the way down, and finally I see here on page 40, married weekly. So that's the table I want to use. So you see the problem here. There's less calculations, but more opportunities to make a mistake because it's so easy to not use the proper table. So married weekly. Now 1 withholding allowance. So I want to skip 0 and go over here to 1. And then I want to go down until I find the area that matches their income, their salary. Well, their salary was $1,350. So I want to go all the way down until I see that in this column. So I don't see that on this first page because it only goes all the way up to 800. And I've got to go all the way up to 1,350. So I'm going to go all the way down here until I find that. Now right here is where I see that. 1,350, but not over 1,360. So in this column for 1, the number that I see there is 152. So that means this person's tax withheld will be 152. So you see, no calculations, but look at all the tables and all the searching that I had to do to find that number. So that's the downside.